very, very sad morning, the passing of the great Bill Hunter on, as you say, Saturday night. Very, very sad news. Bill Hunter, one of the linchpins in the Australian film renaissance of the 70s, absolutely one of the best character actors and lead actors this country has ever produced. Best known for the uncanny ability, Neil, to sell every role he played. The one thing that he was absolutely exceptional at was absolutely imbuing a sense of believability in whatever role he was given. Now, one of the most famous roles, of course,
I was going to say, let's go through some of his roles.
Sure. I mean, top of mind is Priscilla, which of course everyone is mentioning with the standard menu of his great roles, Muriel's Wedding, Blue Murder, etc. But in Priscilla, just think about what he did. He played the romantic interest for a transsexual. He and Terence Stamp were a romantic couple in that. And he absolutely sold it. You absolutely believed that this rough-as-guts, Aussie, no-nonsense character was having feelings for this person. And it was a great role. And, of course, what he did in Muriel's Wedding, where he plays this lowly politician who just missed out by a couple of postal votes from becoming, a bigger politician. It constantly kept getting nailed throughout the movie just how close he came to being great. So that sense of frustration was always there.
Do you have a favourite line, Jim?
Well, not a favourite line, but a favourite scene. In compiling the tribute to him, I got in contact with Steve Bastoni, who is one of the stars of an outstanding crime miniseries called Blue Murder from the 1980s.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
In that miniseries, Steve Bastoni shared a scene with Bill Hunter, where Bill Hunter was playing Black Angus, and Steve Bastoni was playing a normally confident undercover officer who had just been wounded in an assassination attempt. And Hunter was there trying to dissuade him from speaking out against corruption in the force. And Steve Bastoni said that it was in equal parts terrifying, but also incredibly funny to play that scene, because they would push the scene right up until the moment where they had to cut, and then they would burst out in laughter. And he said that one of the great qualities that he learnt from Bill Hunter was the ability to imbue dramatic power in stillness, in silence, and he would not know where Bill Hunter's silence was going to take you, where that stare was going to take you.
He was a great swimmer. Apparently, some believe he could have been an Olympic swimmer.
Yeah, apparently that's how he tried it. Apparently he was a double. He was a swimming double on the beach.
Yeah. And he said, this acting bit looks easy.
Yeah, and then just fell into it.
Was he grumpy? Was he difficult? I mean, that's the image. A bit of a grouch. He even said something about that himself.
Can I answer that question with a personal anecdote?
Sure.
As a young journalist in 1984, he was in Melbourne promoting a small film called The Hit. Probably a film you've never heard of, but it's another example where even in a small role, he absolutely played it to the hilt and sold the character. Now, after my nervous little interview for half an hour with the guy, which was down at the Windsor, he asked me to join him for a beer in the cricketers pub.
Well, he did like a beer.
He did like a beer. And we went in there and we had a beer for probably about 40 minutes, and we had a good chat. And, he reminded me how important it was to keep up my shorthand and to work very hard.
Really?
And he told me that one of the roles that he would love to play was Colin Creed. Do you remember Colin Creed? The guy who was changing his appearance. Was he a former cop that was on the run?
Yeah.
Anyway, at the time it was big news, and he said that's a role that he'd really like to get his teeth into. Now, presumptuous young journalist that I was, I actually brought something for him to sign, which is really something that you're not supposed to do, especially if you're a young journalist. But I have and still have the invitation I got to the movie Gallipoli, in which he played Major Barton, which is easily, in my opinion, Neil, the best thing he ever did on screen. And as we were having this beer, I asked him, what is it that gets you through? What's your philosophy? What is it that drives you? And he said, give me that invitation and I'll write down what it is. And he wrote it down, and what he wrote down was, Jim, just never let the bastards get ya down. And it was ya, Y-A, down. And, Regards, Bill Hunter. And I've still got that, and it was a very impressionable thing. I got to tell you, for a young journo just fresh out of uni, to be actually having a beer with a legend like Bill Hunter. And he was legendary at the time, and since then he's just his stature just grew and grew and grew. And again, this is just as one of the great character actors that we've ever produced.